5. We are live with Figure Pro Malli Ford, and I think the owner of Bo Beauty, mother, wife, business owner, and pro athlete. So I have to ask you, Malli, what don't you do? I think that's the better question.
Well, I don't own Bo Beauty. Dana actually owns Bo Beauty, but I've been working with her for about 5 years now. So
That's cool.
I don't build houses.
Okay, so now we figured out what you don't do.
I do not build houses.
It's cool. So for those of you who are joining us, one of the best things about the Friday Fitcast is we get to interview all walks of life, business owners, pro athletes, presidents of organizations. And what I love about this particular episode is Malli is someone who has not only done multiple shows, she has gotten the chance to really kind of show her true colors as far as what a class act she really is off the stage. And I've gotten the chance to see her in the gym. I see how hard she works with her and her husband. They're both kind of training mates or swole mates, so to speak. And I first of all want to start, Malli, with kind of you and your background and really how you got into fitness and how this became a family affair for you.
So really, I've been working out. I played basketball in high school. I did sports. I played volleyball. Believe it or not, as short as I am, all 5'2" of me. I was a setter, so don't think I spiked anybody. I can't get up that high. And actually met Colin. He was a personal trainer when I met him years and years and years ago. So we kind of started from there. I went to nursing school, saw a lot of how my clients were not healthy. So I figured to lead by example. So we kind of worked out here and there. When COVID hit, to be honest with you, there really wasn't a lot to do. So you either got drunk and sat in your pool, or you went to the gym or found a gym to work out at because you couldn't go to a lot of them. So me and Colin decided, you know what, we're going to take this opportunity to increase our level of health. Started working with trainers, working with our diet, nutrition, because that was one of the things we were really lacking as far as bodybuilding goes. We had the workout down. It's nutrition, which is 80% of any type of bodybuilding. So once we started with the nutrition, we got into it. And of course, my first show, I was completely out of my element with Storm, 100 pounds. I came in way too lean for that competition because I didn't know. I kept, everyone kept saying you're so hard. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I don't know what hard means until I walked on stage and I was like, oh, that's what that means. Okay. You can see every vein in my body right now. Yeah, too hard, too hard for a bikini, but I look good.
You look amazing.
My husband actually came to that competition. He had already started his fitness journey at that time. He was at 260 pounds, and I think he dropped down to like 220. And after he saw me compete, he was like, you know what? I can do this too. So we started working out together, started competing together. Our kids are grown. So it really helped us get back a lot of you live your life through your kids. And then once your kids are gone, you're like, oh, who is this person? Oh, yeah, that's the guy I married. So that's kind of how we got into it. And we've just been competing ever since. We love it.
Well, you have some of your besties. You have Mallory, of course, chiming in, and you have Emily, a big fan. And, of course, Destiny says, you still fine, though. So,
I put makeup on for this, Destiny.
It was great to see everybody, this weekend and really spend time at the NRG Center. And I know that you got your start, I guess, officially in 2020, and it's almost like you haven't taken your foot off the gas. You have been going nonstop. You have been doing the things that you're needing to do, not only on the stage as well as off the stage. Have you really had a true off season? That's my question.
No, it's in between 3 and 4 months because I keep saying, all right, I'm going to take off 6 months. Well, then a show pops up and I'm like, oh, God, that one looks so fun. Just like this past weekend, I was like, oh my God, it's NRG. Let's go check that out. It was so cool. After I competed in the Arnold, I was like, wow. Like, your show was huge. The Arnold was massive. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Arnold because this is a picture of you at the Arnold. You got a chance to kind of fly out. I'm assuming that was in Ohio.
Yes.
What was that experience like? Because very few people in their first year or two get a chance to compete at the Arnold. And that's a huge iconic show. That's something that I would believe might be on some people's bucket lists. Tell us about that experience. How did you like it? What was great about it? What were your thoughts?
So my first thought was I wanted to vomit because there are so many people there. I wasn't used to that. When you go from a small venue to something that has, 1,000 people at it, and not only that, but they stop you because you're tanned, right? So they're walking around, people are walking around like, oh my God, did you compete in the Arnold? You're like, yes, I did. They're like, oh, that is so cool. The experience was amazing. You're backstage. They've got everything set up for you. You've got a room where you're waiting, and then they take you over to a room where they've got all the weights, the mirrors, and everything set up for you. And then they take you on stage. They glaze you, put you on stage, take you back. So many athletes there. You have all your pros there that are competing. So it's really a good experience. The venue itself, think of 3 Astrodome halls filled with all kinds of stuff, because that's what it's like. And you just walk around like in awe, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a nobody in this world, and I really felt like somebody there because it was so cool.
Well, that's an icon. In this picture, is that the coolest backdrop you've ever seen? Because I'm kind of jealous and envious, because that to me epitomizes like the symbol of bodybuilding. I mean, what was that like for you being on that stage besides wanting to vomit? I mean,
it was actually really cool. It was hard for me not to turn around and look at the statue, because you walk in front of it. The first thing you want to do is go, is that really behind me? But you can't, because all the judges are staring at you. It was nerve-wracking. I went on stage. I completely blew my routine. And you can ask my trainer, Lala was out there, and he's like, what did you just do? And I was like, I don't know. I turned and twisted. He was like, well, it looked good, but that wasn't what you were supposed to do. I was like,
Oh my gosh. I think we've all done that. For those of you who have been on stage, it's a big blur. It's like 2 seconds of what just happened when you're walking down the steps.
Think you come again, you're like, okay.
Oh my gosh. So you do the Arnold. That was an experience in and of itself. I want to back up just for a second, because at the end of 2021, and even Malli said it, Mallory said it. She goes, "What's an off season?"
I don't know.
This was something that we had this conversation.
One free meal. You get a piece of pizza that 3 months.
She said that she's actually finally in her off season. I talked to her Saturday, and she was excited about that.
Yes.
I remember, this was something that was a really great memory for me when seeing both of you guys on stage, at the Storm Classic. To me, that was one of those memories. I know that you ended up winning Pro Figure, and you took home a little bit of cash. You also took home some prizes. And I know that's something that was that your first pro win?
Yes. Don't forget my sword.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
I love your show because of the sword. I got my sword. It was very cool. The other thing that people need to understand about the bodybuilding world is you meet a lot of really good friends. I mean, I met Mallory through bodybuilding. I met Destiny through bodybuilding. We've been really good friends ever since. It's a team effort. There's been many a times where I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym. And they're like, no, you're coming to the gym. Come on, let's go. Let's go to the gym. Today, Mallory met me up there. She's working in her off season. She had some surgeries. She's just now getting back to the point to where she can work out. And she's like, I'm going to walk on the treadmill because I can. So it's a good team building thing as well. When we were at Storm, it was very cool back there. We took pictures there. We all got to bond there. That's actually where I first really met Mallory, was at the original one. I had no idea what I was doing. Nobody wanted to sit next to me because I was so lean. I didn't know what that meant, like I said. But afterwards, they're like, okay, you're pretty cool. You're skinny, but you're cool.
Well, I think that's one of the things that people don't realize about going to these shows. You don't have to be on stage to have fun or to really make some amazing connections with friendships that might last a lifetime.
Right.
And I know that for you being just in recently 2020 starting to compete, you've only been in for 2 years. You have hit many of these stages, and I have maybe a little surprise for you. You just competed Saturday in one of probably the most Texas iconic shows, the Branch Warren. It is a super show. And, what would you say really made this show special? Because it sounded like you just kind of jumped into this because it was something that ended up coming up. What made the Branch Warren special for you?
Because it was here. There were a lot of people that I knew here. When I went to compete in the Arnold, obviously it's the Arnold, it's an iconic, but I didn't really know anybody. To get on stage with 300 or 400 other contestants, with a lot of people in the crowd that actually I knew. My husband was here to watch that one because he couldn't see us in Columbus. He didn't go with us. So for him being out there, being able to watch him, it's just a fun experience. You were there. A lot of people that I've known over the years were there that I didn't really even think would be there. So for me, I was like, it's in Houston. A lot of people are going to come, and I get to show off what I've done over the last 2.5 years on this big, huge stage with these people that I call my friends.
Yeah. And for those of you just joining us, I know we had a flood of people jump in. Malli_Ford_figure pro is Malli's Insta. You definitely want to follow her on her journey because she's been somebody who's been inspirational. I want to kind of touch on your team with Armor. I know Larhana and Lalo had it seemed like they had half the competitors in the show. Every time I turned around, I saw a Team Armor athlete. So can you kind of touch on what really Larhana and Lalo have done for you? I know that you've worked with a few coaches. You're currently with them right now. Mm-hmm. What is something that you really love about that team?
What I love about that team is both of them are involved. So Lalo does the diet planning. He does also for posing. He'll do the classic men and women. Larhana actually poses for the figure and the bikini and the wellness and shape. So it's really cool. We have tomorrow we've got a group workout. So all of us go up there every other Saturday or every third Saturday, and we'll do a big, huge group workout. In the middle of that group out, not like a regular one, we pose. So it doesn't matter if you're bikini or you're classic. Everyone does all kinds of poses in the middle of these workouts, which is really cool. Larhana was also competing in the Arnold. So there's nothing cooler than sitting there watching your actual coach up on stage as a pro. It's like, wow, her husband's there, the kids are there. So it's a family event as well, which makes it a lot nicer because a lot of times you just see one person. But with them, you see the dynamics of how a family can actually function in this field, so to speak.
Just to touch on kind of Team Armor, I remember Larhana and Lalo have been very supportive of these shows in the past. Not only have they sponsored Best Posing, they've also gotten a chance to have Siley do kids fitness. And, having that family atmosphere, I think is incredible to be able to pass that on to your kids. And of course, Colin has to shout out Team Armor on the comment as well. I see all these comments going through, and they're like boom, boom, boom.
Does he just say bulking Barbie on there?
Bulking Barbie is Malli's new form.
and actually, Mallory got me a necklace. I think it says Barbie Beastie or something. I can't remember, but she bought me a necklace similar to that. Oh, wait, just a reminder of people, she has 3 children.
So let's talk about your children. I know you said you have grown children. Talk a little bit about them. How has that really been an inspiration for how they are, might be watching their mom and their dad now really heavily get into fitness and wellness? How do you feel like you've influenced your kids in a good way?
So all of my boys were in sports. They all played football. My oldest, Justin, he got a scholarship at NIMI, New Mexico Military School, playing football. He's a slot back. My middle one, he played safety, and my little one was on the line. So they all been sporty. My husband played for Arizona football, which he's probably going to kill me for telling y'all that. He doesn't tell too many people he played for college ball. They absolutely love it. The only thing that they can say when someone says, hey, why do your parents look like that and you don't? They're like, we don't have to look like pro bodybuilders just because they do. But they all work out. They all still go to the gym. In fact, they're all at my house right now swimming. Mm-hmm. So my boys are 28, 23, and 19.
That's incredible. And I have to say, I know Colin's competed in a few shows as well, and was in the Storm Classic with you, winning that pro category, and him being in Masters, and he has come such a long way. I think that you know, a lot of times we want to lead our spouses in the right directions, and you know, men or women, it doesn't matter who's leading. You know, to do that together. I know that we have somebody like a Melody Farkas and a Gabor Farkas who are also pros. And they did prep together for 1 year. And you know, when they were doing that, it was amazing to see how much closer they got and how their kids saw them in a different light when they were able to get on stage. I have a picture here. I'd like for you to kind of walk us through this before we kind of dig into a little bit of Bo Beauty, because I know that's really something that you're passionate about. And I want to talk about kind of the business or professional side of you. Tell us about when you met this fine gentleman and who he is. Do you remember that?
I do. Okay, so there's actually a story behind this. So my husband was like, hey, I need you to go take a picture with the bird. And I'm like, what? And he was like, go take a picture. I was like, what bird are you talking about? He was like, you know, so my middle son actually dressed up as him for Halloween. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, look. And I turned around and I was like, holy crap. So we walked over there. This man is the nicest man you could possibly imagine. He absolutely was thrilled to take a picture with me. We showed him a picture of our son dressed up as him in Halloween. Super nice guy. It was actually really exciting. And I was like, this is so cool.
This is something that, you know, you don't meet a whole lot of NBA players at a bodybuilding show. So what was that conversation like? Did you just get a quick picture with him, or did you get a chance to, you know, have any kind of
I didn't really talk to him too much. That was more of my husband. I just kind of went over there and went and left. I guess I was the window dressing, as you would call it.
You come up to his chest. The top of your hair is like literally at his chest.
When I looked at him, I was like, oh my God, those are your boobs. Okay. I'm just going to stand here and look cute and walk off. Oh. I don't know what to say to you right now.
You know, I think a lot of people, when we were talking about you being on the podcast, people are like, what is Malli going to say? I mean, this could be anything goes. This could be like, we never know which rabbit hole we're going to go down or what avenue we're going to open up.
So I have a funny for you. So wait, I have a card. It was funny. So this is actually, wait, where is it? I have a card, but there they are. They're pink, right? Mm-hmm. So these little business cards are pink. Just cute little business cards. Where the heart? There we go. I handed one to somebody at the show, and they're like, "Oh, they're very feminine and pink." And I was like, "What does that mean? Did you think they were going to have lightning bolts pop up?"
They're going to come to life all of a sudden.
Yeah, you think lightning was going to come down and get you when I put your card in my hand?
Oh my goodness! Well, you'd be amazed that some people, and I think a lot of people look up to athletes who take the courage and that step to actually step on stage, whether they're new, whether they're a veteran, you've not had an off season for a few years. Where do you kind of see the state of shows or bodybuilding going? What are some of the things that you're seeing that you like? And what are some of the things that you're seeing that you don't?
So I think a lot of the times people get burnt out really quick because they do so many shows. If you do one show, and I can just tell you from experience, I'm probably going to do one more show this year. And then I'm going to lay off until probably mid next year. And the reason being is because we put everything kind of on hold, so to speak. Like last year, you know, we didn't really have a Thanksgiving. We didn't really have a Christmas. And you got to have family buy-in. My boys, my friends, my mom, my dad, they were completely supportive of us not being able to eat Thanksgiving dinner, right? Because we were doing Atlas last year. You can't eat and do that particular show. So this year it's kind of one of those things where we're going to kind of slow down a little bit so that we can enjoy that family time. It's a balance. You really have to have a balance or you're going to burn out really quick. You know, you see a lot of these athletes, they get sick, they have to go into the hospital, they have to do this, but it's because we want to improve, we want to get better, and we sometimes don't know our own limits. So having family buy-in, so to speak, kind of grounds you a little bit. You know, like you know what? Like this weekend, I've got all the boys at the house. We've got girlfriends at the house. We're gonna have July 4th. We're gonna have a good time. So it kind of, you're like, okay, I need that relaxing time. Me and my husband went to Maui. We went with Mallory and her husband. You just have to have that relaxing time. And if you compete every other month, you don't get it. There's no down to that. So if I could tell anybody who's doing bodybuilding, it's a balance. And Melody can tell you the same thing. It's a balance. You have to have that balance or you're going to burn out. I love bodybuilding, but if I did it for 4 or 5 years straight and nothing else, I would hate it.
Well, that's something I wanted to touch on because we're talking more and more about mental health. And I'd kind of like for you to dig in, because Colin's going after something, you're going after something. How do you have these conversations? Are they basically transparent and open where we're like, hey, maybe we need to think about taking a break? How do we kind of pull back the reins on somebody who's going full blast and maybe say, why don't we take a break and reevaluate and wait until next year? How does that work?
So for me and Colin, it is a mental thing. It's a drive thing because towards the end, when you're 2 or 3 weeks out, you're tired. You're dead on the couch. You're carbless. You're that's basically what you feel like. So for me and Colin, that conversation was, okay, I'm going to do this competition. We're going to do these competitions. And then we're out for 6 to 8 months, period. Like you're not doing a competition. We will still work out. We will still do the diet, and maybe one of us decides, hey, what do you think about doing 1 in 5 months or 1 in 6 months? Typically we compete together so that we're on the same schedule. This time we just didn't happen to do it, but normally we do. And we both agreed, like we're going to the beach on the 22nd of this month. We've got a cruise planned on the 21st of August. We're going to the Golden Nugget next month. So it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'll fix this. We won't compete. Watch me. And I just got on the computer and planned 3 little mini vacations. Hard to compete when your wife's sitting at the bar and you're eating beanies rice over in the corner.
Well, what is it like when you guys are on prep? Are the arguments a little bit more intense? Are you a little bit more graceful, when we do kind of fall off the wagon in that, prep period of anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks? Or how does that go for you guys prepping together? I'm kind of curious. What's the good, the bad?
So actually it's not too bad. He cooks most of the food. He's super great about weighing my stuff out and making my meals. I'm horrible when it comes to that. So when he's in the kitchen, he's like, do you want me to make your meals, dear? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And he's like, where's your meal plan? Lalo sends my meal plan to Colin because I won't. I'll just dump it on the thing. I'll never measure that crap out. That's Colin. Colin does all of that. I get crabbier, clearly closer to when I don't have carbs. And we have learned to read each other really well. So in the morning, if I get up and I'm like, hey babe, how are you doing? He's like, oh, hey honey. If I get up and I'm like, he's like, do you want some coffee? Yes, dear. He's like, okay, well, let me know when you're out of that little funky mood and we'll talk. Vice versa. If I see him on the couch and he's got his head down and he's like this, I know that it's not that he's in a bad mood. He's just tired. He's dead to the world. So we've learned to read each other. We actually don't fight, believe it or not. We've just figured out how to back off and then come forward. But as far as like, he does all the laundry, he does all the grocery shopping, he does all the meal prepping. So I'm lucky.
I don't think I'm going to put these comments up coming up. Sorry, Colin. It's funny because when we see these things, a lot of times every relationship is different and there's a different dynamic for, let's say, a competitor who is full blast, full bore competing in prep, and then their significant other has no idea because they don't live in that world. You've got other people who kind of prep together. You have other couples who maybe one is prepping and they will never prep with that person because then the second half of the year is designed for them. I really, really like that dynamic and what you hit on. You do take these mini vacations. Mm-hmm. Now that kind of nutrition, fitness has entered into your life, and we're talking pre-2020 here. We're talking there was a much different lifestyle back in 2018 for you guys. Do you kind of feel like you are really blessed to have that, knowing that the decisions you might have been making non-fitness related, now that you make them fitness related, are they different? And do your kids see a difference in you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like our food choices, even when we go out to eat, are completely different. We do, we'll go out. Like a few weeks ago, we went out and we went to the Mexican restaurant, but instead of getting burritos, tacos, or cheese enchilada, it's let me have, and I know I sound like when Harry met Sally, but let me have, can you just give me some lettuce? I would like grilled fajita meat. Don't put any butter on it. I just need tomatoes on the side and avocado on this side. Thank you. And they're like, what? And he gets the same thing I get. It's because it's clean. Like it would tear my stomach up to eat something other than anything clean.
Yep. And your body gets used to that, and Grace said, my hubby eats all the food I make during prep. And so it's almost like a community prep. I have to ask you, do you get peanut butter in your prep?
I used to.
So
until I ate the jar.
I was going to ask you, how do you measure a scoop of peanut butter?
It does not measure. It's a big blob. And then I just eat it. So there's no more peanut butter. Colin is the same way. There have been times when we'll buy a jar of peanut butter and the next day it's gone. So we've been banned from peanut butter.
The comments coming. Everybody who's prepped and everybody who's had peanut butter in their diet, that's been the going joke. How do you measure your teaspoon of peanut butter? Because you find a way to generously scoop a little extra every single time. All of a sudden,
it's not a tablespoon. You get like the big salad spoon. It's like this big. Nobody measures that. Maybe somebody does, not this girl.
And that's the funny part, because people, you can't take peanut butter through the airport. We just had this discussion. I always get my.
You can't take bean dip either.
I mean, who would have thunk it? TSA, come on now. So
it's a putty.
Yes,
I found that it's a putty. I'm like, it's not even open. I just bought. So this is years ago. I went through because I was a regional director of operations. So I had like 7 states. So I had this little bitty baby bean dip that I bought in their little store. It wasn't even open in my Fritos. And I'm going through TSA and they're like, we're taking your bean dip. And I was like, I just bought it. It's not open. What am I supposed to dip these in? I don't like Fritos to be dipped.
I didn't know about bean dip. And I think
it's the same consistency as peanut butter. No putty.
So, obviously Lalo has taken your freedom of peanut butter away, because the abuse of the peanut butter seems
He actually didn't take it away. Colin did. Colin goes, give me the peanut butter back. You are not allowed to eat the peanut butter.
Just think, after your show, you're going to have to be able to consume those things. But you mentioned something. I'm going to try and be serious for a second. When you tear up your stomach because when you go out to eat, because of all the additives and preservatives and extra calories and the way things are marinated and cooked and seasoned, I think that as we go through, has your palate really changed to basically really be more toward how you're eating for fuel as opposed to taste?
Oh, absolutely.
So how will you do that off season? Do you think you'll just binge out, or do you think you'll kind of reverse out and really live healthy?
I stay fairly clean eating every now and then, even when I have a cheat meal. I mean, we're talking about fat-free cottage cheese and fruit. That you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't go off the every now and then I'll hit off the reservation with a bag of Doritos or pretzels or something. But for the most part, my off the reservation is still healthy. Fruit, you can't eat a lot of fruit on the diets that we have because of the sugar. So when I get a chance, I'm like, oh God, give me some pineapple. Everyone's like, really? Pineapple? That's what yes, that is what I want, is pineapple. Or the other one that is my favorite, and this is going to sound gross to a lot of people, is hamburger, peanut butter with a banana on top. It's my favorite. It's so good.
So I'm going to go back to the pineapple for a second, because the peanut butter comments and the hamburger just don't mix. And then I go with it.
It's called a Elvis burger.
Elvis burger.
Okay. Elvis burger. I had it in NOLA, and I haven't been able to get rid of it.
Do you know why you might crave pineapple? Any
sugar.
particular reason? Sugar?
Yeah.
You're right. Mallory said the Elvis burger. And peanut butter cookies. Colin said you're a peanut butter cookie fan.
Yeah, the HEB, we can't have those either. He's right. We'll get the and they're just store-bought. They're from Kroger or HEB, and they're the peanut butter cookies. I think there's 15 in a little plastic thing. Gone, all of them.
But you think, or I have a feeling you've counted them.
There's like 15 to 18, depending on.
Well, okay, so Elvis ate the burger. I get that. Bromelain, when it comes to pineapple, a lot of times those digestive enzymes that really help to digest our food comes in pineapple. And I think once your palate has gotten away from sugar, you actually more crave the pineapple because
Mhm.
it's easier on your stomach and it doesn't bloat you. It actually helps you. Are you a chocolate person?
No.
Okay, so no chocolate. That's off the list. So for those of
Every
you
now and then I'll eat it. Colin is Reese's peanut butter, so those can't be in the house. He's actually been searching in my car for hidden treasures like flavored peanut butter. I caught him one night because he told me to hide the peanut butter because you can get nuts and more with like the cake batter and stuff. So
yeah.
I hid it and I told him where it was. But since I told him I had moved it, I looked out on my driveway. It's like 9 o'clock at night and it's lit up. And I'm like, what's going on out there? I see him lower the hood of my car and I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? He was like, you said the peanut butter was out here. I said, get in this house.
Oh
Get
my
in this
gosh.
house.
Well,
You cannot have the peanut butter. I moved it.
I think you broke Angie's heart, according to her heartbreak. That's either an Elvis or that's like a food thing because I know Angie also competed at the branch with you,
Yes.
part of Team Armor, of course. And I think what's really cool, I want to touch on the professional aspect of what you do because when I think about your schedule has to be jam-packed from morning to night. So can you run us through like a typical week as far as how a pro athlete, their schedule looks to the outside world?
So for me, especially during prep, I get up first thing in the morning and I'll do my AM fasted cardio, usually around 6 o'clock. I'm done by about 7:30. Go home, change, get dressed, come to work, hit the office by 9. What I like to do is try and take about a 2-hour break in the middle of my day so that I can go get my weightlifting done, come back, see more clients. When I get done with my last client, I'll go back and do my 45-minute cardio. In between all of that, of course, I'm trying to eat my meals because I'm face to face with people because I obviously do Botox and fillers. So it's not like I'm sitting behind a desk where no one can see me all day. So I'm literally trying to shove my food. A lot of my clients, when I come in, they're like, "You're eating." I said, "I'm always eating. It's fine." Trying to eat in between clients. I also do Botox parties. So a lot of the times I'll leave here at 4 o'clock and I won't get home till 10:30 or 11 because I'm doing a party in Baytown. So it is a very strenuous schedule. Now that's a little closer to prep. When I'm in my off season, like today, I went and worked out. I left here at like 3. I went to work out till 4:15, went home, took a quick shower and came and did this. So it just depends on how many clients I have. Some days I don't get into the gym till 6 o'clock because I am packed from 9 to 5.
So let's say I see you at a gym working out. I know obviously pro athletes get a little bit of attention. You've got the people who kind of look at you in the gym. They're like, man, she's got some muscles. She's got some intensity in her training. Colin sometimes is there. How do you typically ignore your fans? Because you have fans in the gym. What are some of the secrets that if you really want to get a good workout, what are like 2 or 3 tips that you might take like the things with you to try and eliminate that conversation so you can get in and get out without getting stuck in conversation?
So I used to have earbuds. So I found that with the earbuds, I still get the tapping on the shoulder. So if you see me now, I've got these big, huge red beats on my head. So it's a little more intimidating for someone to come tap on me. And when they do tap on me, they kind of, I'll pull them back and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt." And I'm like, "Okay, can I help you with something?" And then they see the look on my face and they're like, "No, I'm good." Let me stick my little head back on. The other thing is I do like to help people. So it's not if I'm in between sets, like if I'm going from like one exercise to the other, if they happen to be in my pathway, I'll take my headphone off and say, "Okay, what did you need or what was your question?" And that kind of eliminates a lot of it. And then sometimes I just get stuck. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, well, that screwed my workout up a little bit. It is what it is.
You know, it's crazy because Destiny and I were actually in the squat rack adjacent to each other. And, we just gave the what's up. It's that brother and sisterhood of understanding. You're in your set. I know you. We're good friends. We've talked. Great. But do your thing. We'll do ours and we'll talk later. Let's get to it. One of the great rookie tips that I always learned was when I would see a celebrity or I'd see a pro athlete, I would get a time to where they're done with the intense part of their workout because they're on a schedule. And, getting them going out to the, or doing that. But you have a heart of gold. Obviously, you would sit there and give somebody advice in the middle of sets if you needed to. But Destiny brought up a good point. Nobody looked at us until our biceps were bigger than theirs. I would agree with that. And, women have, I think, ever been so the bikini and figure type. Now, when you get muscles, you're looked upon as strong. You're looked upon as someone who is setting themselves apart from the norm. You've got the girls in there doing their 5 pounds. Yeah, that's okay. And you know what? There's the other ones doing the 225 for squats. So, wait a second. Time out. Kyle said, Colin doesn't know about leg day. You want to touch on that, Malli, or you want to leave that one alone?
I don't even know what he's talking about. Colin Ford doesn't know about leg day. Okay, so there's the running joke. Our middle son used to play. He played football and he was stacked, right? He had huge legs. When he stopped playing football, he stopped working his legs out. So now he just works out his arms and his biceps because he said girls don't care about legs. Obviously, my husband works his legs out all the time. So there's this running joke between the two of them. Kyle will go like this and look at my bicep and it's, this and that. And then my husband will stick his leg out and he's like, okay, you stick your leg out and we'll talk.
Well, I just saw a picture of Colin and he is vascular and he is muscular in his legs. So I don't know, Kyle. I think he might have you in that department. So
Kyle has little sticks. My legs are bigger than his. Sorry, son.
All right. Now we're calling him out.
He's not commenting now.
You know what's funny? Is his girlfriend sitting
Come on, Kyle. You ain't got nothing to say.
Oh, Mallory did.
No, he's at the house.
Okay, cool. Well, what's great
Kyle
about these things,
you don't know about leg day. I knew that was coming.
Well, that comes from your good friend Mallory.
Welcome to my HBO family.
I didn't think I was going to laugh this much today. This is great because this is my comedy relief. No, and for those of you joining us, I know that we'll try and do this. Mallory has mybowbeauty.com. Obviously, she works with Dana. Dana has come on board as a silver sponsor for the Storm Classic, so we're super appreciative of her support. And I know that, Malli is a big proponent of the sport. And I think that, when we talk about the sport in general, we're not talking about certain organizations. We're just talking about athletes. In your opinion, what can we do, show promoters? And I'm just talking about general show promoters. What can we do to make and keep athletes first in the sport? I'm kind of curious as far as your take on this.
So I think, first of all, it's a mental thing. I think for us, just the environment itself needs to be welcoming. It needs to be friendly. And I know a lot of people are competing because they want to get to the top level, but that's only 10 or 15% of us are ever going to make it to Olympia or to the stage on Arnold. We try to get there, but I think making that journey from a promoter standpoint is as easy and as friendly and as user-friendly as possible for us. When I went to NRG, when we went to that venue, the best part of that was all of the people there supporting people. You've got all of your vendors there. You've got all of the people supporting people saying, hey, great job. They don't care where you're from. They don't care where you're competing at. All they know right now is you're on this stage. You've worked your hind part off to get to this stage. And that's it. For us, that's it. Someone saying, go, great job. You've done a wonderful job. And that's at every venue we go to. There shouldn't be any negativity in any of this. We should all love one another, whether you're competing in this venue or that venue, or whether you're natural, whether you're tested or untested. We all work equally as hard to get to where we're at. There is no one person that works harder than the other person. We're all in there grinding away every day. Results are different based on lifestyle changes, this and that and everything else. But that doesn't mean because this person has a little more muscle tone or this person is a little bit leaner that we didn't work just as hard. And I think as athletes, we should all respect that. And I think a lot of the times you get on stage and you don't respect that anymore because you're looking at another person. You're like, well, how come she won and I didn't win when I look better? Well, excuse me. See, that's what I'm talking about coming out my mouth. We all worked equally as hard. And I think from a promoter standpoint, that should be represented.
It's great that you said that because when people start their journey, it's always going to be a different time. You might have somebody stepping on stage for the first time. They're nervous. They're not confident. They're scared. They're anxious. You have all of these feelings and emotions. And even veterans have those same things. But to be on the stage took a lot of money of investment. It took a lot of time in the gym. It took careful planning with a coach and also your nutrition and how you're planning and designing your life for that time that you prep. Some people prep 10 weeks. Some people prep 20 or 30 in some cases, almost half the year. So what's, what has been kind of your favorite, and I don't want you to pick a favorite show, but what are some of your favorite memories besides the branch, as far as all of your friends are there, all of your supporters? It was nice to be welcomed. If you were to pick out maybe a stage, and I'm going to give you the hot seat questions, and this is how we'll kind of finish up. When it comes to a stage, what is important, or what was your biggest memory as far as favorite stage? What made it your favorite?
My favorite stage. That's hard to say. Honestly, it would have been probably the second storm that I did probably would have been my favorite. I know you said not to mention anything. That one was actually, there were quite a few people. The first one was actually really good for me because there were so many people there, but I was so nervous. I had no idea what was going on. But everyone was really nice. Like from one takeaway, and I can say even in Sulphur, when I went to Sulphur and I competed there, everyone was really nice. Like when you're nice, it makes a big difference. Like, and I can tell you, I think it was at Storm. There was a young lady in the back. One of her coach wasn't there. All right. Her first competition. She had no idea what to do. She was lost. She was completely, my husband, she had this frantic look on her face. And my husband went up to her and said, okay, what's going on? Like, what's going on? She's like, my coach isn't here. I don't know what to do. He actually went and got Lorhanna. Lorhanna came over and helped her. So for me, and that was in the backstage of Storm, for me, that's what makes the show. It wasn't about anything. Like I didn't know her from Adam, and she's actually one of my really good friends now, Jessica McWilliams. So we bonded. So the thing is, people back there really cared. And it's not that she was against one person or the other. It was, hey, what do you need help with? I'll tell you, Sharon competed. She did phenomenal. The first routine she went through at Branch, she was super fast. She was backstage. She was going for the night show. I said, Sharon, slow down. You're great. Slow down a little bit. So I think that advice and having fun. Oh, hey, Dana. I was like, what's behind me? Having fun is huge. The Storm stage itself is large, so you get a little more box walk, which was actually really nice. But I will say it's a little bit nerve-wracking because there's a little more space in between to fall in those heels. So you're like walking. But I think for any athlete, I think the best thing is athlete to athlete. Back there helping each other. The promoters are walking around, people that are helping us. What part of the stage do I go on? Because a lot of us are lost, even the people that are seasoned. You know, you get in there and you're like, do we go left? Do we go right? Which way am I supposed to go off the stage? So the people working the show make a huge difference in our experience as athletes.
Got it. So let me ask you kind of a different question. What's typically your pump-up routine?
My pump-up routine? I usually eat a bunch of candy and start doing push-ups and bands. So the other thing I will say in the back from a promoter standpoint is have a few things for the athletes back there to pump up with. Because I will tell you, when I did my last competition, there was nothing back there. There was a couple of bands back there, and I had been working all day. It was last minute. I forgot to bring all of my stuff. So I'm back there trying to do some crazy calisthenic push-ups, this and that to push up. I probably could have I do a push-up in those stupid heels. I was like, I'm going to break my neck back here before I get up on that stage. So just maybe a few weights and some stuff that would make it, like at the Arnold, they had a pump-up room. Obviously for y'all, I would mark them so, nobody takes your stuff. But but that's actually really nice. And water. For whatever reason, everyone stopped putting bottled waters back there. I know we can't drink a lot of it, but it'd be nice to have a couple.
No, that's a great point. I'm going to actually write that down because I didn't think about that. And I think that's good. And, Destiny said it needs to remain about the athletes. A lot of times we don't know what athletes want until we ask. And if nobody's asking, how do the promoters get better? Because, we're kind of seeing a shift, right? We had Christian Guzman had the Summer Shredder. We're having more shows that, the American Fit Expo is going to have a non-sanctioned show at some point, not this year, but they're going to have it next year. We're thinking about how promoters can actually start listening to the athletes and connecting with them to figure out what can work best. And I think that if we're asking the questions and keeping that dialogue open, it helps. So let's talk about the future for Malli, because, you work with MyBo Beauty. You do Botox, you do Dysport. Tell me about, and by the way, I'm excited to come in. I am, a lot of people say, they're going to be a show sponsor. I don't mind paying full price. You want to know why? Because you know what? It's worth it. And Malli is worth it. And yes, I do need Botox because you can kind of see the wrinkles. I don't look as young as I used to. So tell me about why you love doing what you do.
I can't see those at all. Because I augment people's beauty. I don't change faces. Yeah, I could. Don't worry. You don't have to get that close to the screen. The way that you look, what I'm going to do is make you look fresh. I might change the way you look.
I would.
But I like it because it makes people feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
So if you come into my office and you're like, what do you think I need? No, it's not what I think you need. What do you think you need? Because I'm not going to dissect your face. I want you to tell me what bothers you. You tell me what bothers you, and then we'll work from there. I work with budgets. Our Botox is $10 a unit. Our Dysport is only $325, and our full syringe filler is $500, unless you get Radius, which is $600. Which you can check my prices anywhere. They're super. They're real. Like I don't have a big. The back is my office. That's it. There's no secretary. I don't have a fish wall, and you don't have to pay for my fancy chandelier. Right? You're paying basically to come in here and make yourself feel better. We all age, right? And also when you come in, obviously people look at me and they're like, you work out? And my classic answer is, no, I just have a Nike pump in the morning and I just air these bad boys up and we come to work. So for them, I give them a lot of advice on vitamins, meal plans. So it's really a holistic experience when you come in here, if you will. There's that fancy nursing word. Look at that. All that school and you got one word out of me.
Angie's loving that.
I can talk big.
No, it's great.
So yeah, it's actually a really good experience.
Go ahead. I might have lost you. Don't tell me I lost you.
I wasn't talking. It's kind of a delay.
Okay. No, and it's usually what happens. Okay, good. Here's what I want to ask you. Let's say because we have hundreds of competitors who watch this, and I usually see the amount of views that it gets, and I can usually tell who views it. Let's say a competitor, it's their first time, it's their 10th time, and they're looking to maybe do a little filler, maybe do something as far as to enhance maybe the here, right? What would you recommend? Because, obviously if you're in prep and you're metabolizing your fat, obviously we know about Botox. When would you recommend coming in to get some of those touch-ups or services?
So typically I like people to come in about a month before they compete. There's a couple of reasons. One, it takes Botox 10 to 14 days to kick in. So if I need to do any touch-ups, that'll give me time to do the touch-ups before they compete. The other thing is there's a couple of different types of fillers. One of them is hydrophilic, aka water affectionate. So what happens when you dry out is you lose that volume. So if I'm going to do cheek fillers, I really like to do Radius because it's a calcium polymer. So the calcium polymer itself will help you rebuild your own collagen, and it's not hydrophilic. So it's not water affectionate. So a lot of the times when you see ladies that aren't like, and I can take Mallory. Mallory went on stage. She was completely dried out, but she still had nice little, same with me. I have nice little puffy cheeks, even though I'm completely bone dry. It's because what I've got in my cheeks isn't hydrophilic. It's not water affectionate. So even when I can't swallow, I still have chipmunky cheeks because I use Radius. So it's really, I like them to come a little bit earlier so I can make sure the bruising is also an issue. I don't want anybody going on stage bruised. So, I'll have clients come in and tell me, I'm going to go to a wedding this weekend. And I'm like, I'm not touching your face. I said, you are not going to have Face by Malli on camera. Sorry. And I'll give you another example. I also do sclerotherapy. So I'll actually burn the veins out of your legs, like the little purple veins. There was a competitor and she was on my schedule Thursday and she's competing in 2 weeks and she wanted to do sclerotherapy. I said, girlfriend, please. I said, do you know how swollen and nasty your legs are going to be? I said, your trainer will come up here and whip my hind part if I put acid in your legs 2 weeks before you compete. She didn't even think about it. So that's the other advantage if you're competing and you're coming to me is I'm looking at, all right, when are you competing? What stage of prep are you in? And let's make sure that we do this correctly so that you're not jacked up on stage.
Well, let's say somebody does want to contact you. What's the best way to contact you and how to get in touch?
My cell phone, actually. It's, and I can give it to you. It's 281-731-6544.
You're about to get thousands of calls.
I don't have a secretary. You're going to get me. Even though it drives my husband insane that my phone goes off all the time. And we're in the gym and he's like, who are you texting? And I was like, who do you think I'm texting? All my clients. Man. Welcome to my world.
Well, that's the beautiful part. Maybe, Erica as well. And you basically are getting support for your own podcast. I think that's one of the things that I think has come out of this. And I think that that's
Thank you, Erica. She's actually, so that is my son's fiance, my oldest son's fiance. She is a modeling agent for Paige Parks.
Very cool. Very cool. It's really great.
And the other thing that they can do to contact me, if you go on, we have a website, bowbeauty.com. All of my information, my bio, my history, everything that I've done is on there as well.
Very cool. Well, mybowbeauty.com, Malli_Ford_figure pro is her Instagram. I really enjoyed today. I think it's nice to get to know the Malli Ford as opposed to just seeing her on the posters for the Storm Classic and being a figure champ, but also getting a chance to hear from her. And I think that this has been, amazingly good to be able to kind of see you, where your heart is, where your vision is for your future, for you, your family, your husband, and anybody you want to shout out as we close out. I know that I don't want you to leave anybody out, but I also understand if you do have somebody on your mind that you did want to shout out. Go ahead. We lost you audibly.
Just to my family for all the support. My mom out there on the other side of Dallas. My sweet husband for sticking with me when I'm such a nasty little person sometimes. And my boys, their girlfriends, fiancés. We have a really close family. Like my oldest son said the other day, he was like, if you don't want to hear it, you probably do not want to come to the Ford family because we're going to straight shoot you. We will absolutely tell you what we think. So if you want something candy coated, you might want to go next door.
Well, I think you summed it up and wrapped it up so well. And just want to thank you for the time on a Friday night, the weekend before 4th of July. I will say that we have a nice treat next week. And I just confirmed the guest. I don't know how you're going to top Malli, Ian Moore. It's going to be Ian. Ian Harrison is the PCA president of the United States of the Physical Culture Association. He's going to be joining us with a major announcement and also some things that are about to hit the United States on the non-tested side. And it's definitely going to be worth tuning into because this gentleman has some news. And, Malli, I just want to say have a great weekend. We'll see you at Steelworks, of course, and you'll be seeing Sam and Gabe at Steelworks as well as on the podcast here in a few weeks. And they're going to be joining us to talk about kind of the mecca of Houston when it comes to where competitors want to train. So, Malli, thanks again. Until then, everybody enjoy your weekend. We will see you same time, same day, Friday at 5:30, Friday FitCast. Take care. Have fun.